Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the H-Town Heel Show, where the Astros pitching is in a state of emergency right now. And we will cut to get back into that here in just a second. I'm Noah, that's Heel, and we're coming with a different. Usually, we've just done series recaps up to this point, but this is something we felt needed to be its own episode, as currently 3 of your 5 starters entering the year are potentially out. Well, 2 of them are out. One more, in Tatsuya Imai, is potentially out. So Christian Javier, Hunter Brown, they both have grade 2 shoulder sprains. They're not coming back anytime soon. And then Tatsuya Imai, who looked god awful last night, couldn't even get through the first inning, which we needed him to because you know, it's the first game of a 4-game series after an off day. You're about to enter 13 games straight, and your starting pitcher, who you spent good money for, couldn't even get out of the first inning. Yeah, he was really bad, could not throw a strike, walking batters, wild pitches, allowed 3 runs, and got knocked out of the game. What are your thoughts on that?
Boy, do I have a lot. Where do I start? Um, well, like you said, we're paying good money. And by the way, we need to change your Mize number from 45 to something else because I don't want to keep having discussions with him and Garrett Cole and Mariano
Uh,
Rivera because that's an insult so far. Um, and on top of that, like you would have never, if you watched this game late, like even the second inning, you would have never thought Mai was the starter. You would have had to find that out from looking up the game or whatever. Like, I mean, apparently this guy forgot that he has an opt-out clause and he decided to be horrendous. Um, yeah, it's just I mean, I guess it's no big deal, you know. One guy you paid big money for out, your ace is out, and the one guy that you thought was gonna be a future reliable pitcher, out, the El Reptil. Uh, no pressure, you know.
no
Uh,
pressure on the bullpen that is extremely taxed, extremely tired, and is just asking so much of right now when you need a get back series, a get back game, and your starter can't even go to the first inning. Do you how deflated the bullpen must be that they're already getting up and warming? Like they just got there like 5 minutes ago, and they're already something. Steven Okert's already having to get loose. Like, come on, dude.
Dude, Steven Okert pitched better than a guy you paid big money for.
Steven Okert did
I
great.
know.
He threw strikes. He threw strikes. That's all you had to do.
And on top of that, you gotta take advantage of this team. Wow, Cal Riley is like, what was he batting before last night? I think it was like 145.
No, the Mariners as a whole, because the broadcast showed it before the game. The Mariners as a whole were batting, where their batting or their offensive numbers were literally bottom 2 or dead last to start the season in every major hitting category. It sucks, dude.
Yeah, like it was just horrendous to watch.
And now we learned, I'm not sure if it was either last night or this morning, but Tatsuya Imai got on a plane back to Houston to get examined by team doctors, and you can imagine the reaction all us Astros fan had. Here we go again.
Exactly. Like I'll be honest with you, if they decide to fire the medical team, I'm all for it, and I'll be okay with it.
They already did.
Oh,
This is a new medical. This is like a new medical staff. There's like a head new trainer, and it's gotten worse.
is it Joe Espada?
Whatever they're doing to these players, it's not good. And then some other people are kind of mad because through post game interviews, Imai through his translator has said he has struggled to adapt to like the hardness of the mounds of the MLB versus Japan, and like he said something about like the weather in Japan last night made him struggle, and I'm like, dude, we gave you a $40 million contract, like Yeah, like I understand. I got to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's coming from MLB to Japan, but I those just sound like excuses I would give. Like own up to it. Like you weren't your best.
Sounds like a guy that's gonna opt in and probably give us another headache for another year. Yeah.
I still have faith in him. Obviously, you saw what he did versus a very good Oakland lineup. You know, but we can't keep doing these flashes. Good game, bad game, bad game, good game, good game, bad game. We can't do that.
Well, here's the good news. We found out the Mariners are actually a really bad team because why? we're, we're keeping them in the game, making them look like a good team. Now, granted, there's still 3 more games to play, but why? Uh, and it's not like and I said this even during the live stream. It's not like we're facing Woo. It's not like we're facing, Gilbert. It's not like we're facing any of their well-known aces, right? Because Mariners have a good pitching. No one's going to deny that. We face Hancock.
Hancock, don't listen. I did not know much about Hancock going into this game, other than he's a promising young guy. I looked at some of his stuff, and he's got some good stuff. He's not a nobody.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I don't, like, I know I'm making it sound like he's a nobody, but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah, he's not one of the big dogs,
yeah,
but he could be there one
yeah,
day.
it's like from our end. If you see like, Mike Burrows, it's like you got to take advantage before you, again, this is assuming the whole rotation is healthy and playing well. It's like, okay, if you do get bad against Samari, that's fine. I mean, right now, obviously it doesn't mean anything, but you know what I mean? If you do bad against Hunter Brown, okay, that's fine. Again, Javier, the big guys, the big names. But if you got to get to guys like Mike Burrows, and maybe even Eric Getty, those guys. Same thing goes for other clubs too. When you face a guy like Hancock, you got to capitalize on the fact that, hey, this is who we're seeing, and if we don't take this game, then it's bad news for us because now we're gonna face their big dogs coming up in the series.
Luis Castillo, Kirby,
Yeah.
Gilbert. It's a gauntlet.
Yeah, and exactly. Like this is the Mariners. They have pretty much ace after ace after ace. This isn't like if we were to face, I don't know, like the Reds or something like that. Like, where it's like, oh my God, we got Hunter Green one series, and then and if we lose that game, oh well, now we go and face, I don't know, uh, I don't know who I can name on their team that's a that's a winnable pitcher, but like, yeah, Abbott or something like that. Something like that.
Yeah, man. It's just this, and it's also just very disappointing that when you look at the schedule, you're facing teams like the Angels, you're facing the A's, the Rockies twice, the Guardians. This is a very winnable stretch of games that you have just had. And the fact that you're not taking advantage of it is just so disappointing. Like like imagine like we're on, say we figure it out in a couple weeks, and we're rolling, the pitchers start to come back slowly, and then you're in a playoff race, like a wild card race or potentially a division race, in the back end of the season. You're just like, man, if only we had just not gotten swept by the Rockies, or man, if only we had won one more versus Oakland, or if we had taken, one more game versus the Angels. These are teams that you are supposed to beat. Not that they are bad teams. Well, sorry, Rockies, you guys are a bad
Yeah,
team, but
they got walked off on
but
twice.
and I understand we can't talk because you guys just swept us, but these are teams that you need to absolutely take every game that you can, because it is going to bite you in the butt later on in the year.
Yeah, and they should have learned that lesson last year. One game, I think, was the difference. One game was the difference between us going to the playoffs and not, if I'm not mistaken. 1 or 2 games. Either way, low
Yeah.
number. Literally, all it took was for you to win a series or at least win one more games in a series that you got swept in. And you didn't make the playoffs because of that later on in the year. And I I understand. if we were to talking to some of these athletes, they would tell us, well, we're always competitive. But anyone who's ever played sports before, you can't tell me that there's not a time where you just showed up for a game and said, you know what, I want to get this over with. It does happen. At least like one game out of the schedule. Granted, we don't play 160 games, but you get the point. Uh, Sometimes you do just show up to the game and you're just like, oh, all right, I'm gonna play this, then I'm gonna do this after. It does, and it just comes off to us sometimes when we watch the Astros play, like, oh, we're just showing up, and whatever happens, happens. And it's not really that, it's not exactly a vibe you want to give off to your fan base. And if anything, one of the main reasons why I always vibe well with this team as a fan is because I always loved the passion. That's why I love Altuve. I love the passion of this team. LMJ, I love his passion. Like regardless of his history of injuries, and people wanting, some people even went as far as to say get him off the team. Correa, he has passion, but the question is, does he still have it? He still does, but obviously he can't hit like the Correa of old. Even though he's only 31, but still. Um, why? And honestly, I think that's what it comes down to. Is like this team needs to walk in with, you know, the drive to win and the emotion every single game. They can't just be like, oh, we're visiting Colorado, but we got to play a game. Okay, great. Once we leave, what are we having for dinner? The same thing in LA. You know, oh, we're in LA for a game or two. Sweet. What do we have for dinner afterwards? They got to go in there saying, you know what? Like, even though it's kind of like dead for the most part, they got to go in there saying, you know what? Every team looks at us as like, eh, you know, that team that just won it all because, cheating or whatever. Even though every other team was doing it, but they got to go in there with that mentality and drive every single year. Play the bad guy. Because when the the good news is when people are talking about you, good or bad, it means you're doing something right. You know, and that's got to keep happening.
Yeah, man. Just you gotta have. I don't doubt that these players don't have passion and that they don't want to go out there and win, but it's just a matter of execution. If you go out there and you have at bats where you swing at the first or second pitch and you dig it into the dirt and you have a 7 pitch inning with like 3 ground outs or a pop out, like you got to do better than that.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing. Um, I don't get like I forgot what at bat it was, and I don't even remember if it was during the Mariners series or in the other series. But point is, like sometimes. Oh yeah, yeah, I know what it was, and this irked me. Like this really bothered me. Um, I believe it was Altuve. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But it was some player. I hate, and I really do hate when they challenge the ABS system so early, like in the first or second or third inning. Like,
Yeah, like you were out of challenges by the second
yeah,
inning. You were out of challenges by the second inning, and what that gives the umpire the whole game to screw you over. It's just like there should be a rule on the Astros that like uh you can't challenge a call unless it's after like the fifth inning.
yes, because uh, it just bothered me that we had no challenges after that, and there were some obvious misses that if only the ABS system was there, we would have got it. But nope. Why? Because apparently the Astros are really happy at doing. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me, man. Don't challenge everything just because you want to rebel against everything, you know? Like, even though the Empires, I get it, they're not gonna get everything right. That doesn't mean they're gonna be like wrong on some really close pitches. Like, and I will say this, man. There should also be a rule that the only people allowed to challenge are the catchers. Pitchers don't challenge. I don't care. I don't care how close you think it is or whatever. Just Christopher Vasquez, Yonder Diaz, and if we have a third, I think Salazar's on the roster. I'm not sure. Basically, all the catchers, you challenge pitchers. I'm sorry. I'm not saying like you're terrible with the strike zone or anything like that, but you are not allowed to challenge. Hitters, you only challenge if it's for a fact it's a ball. Other than that, don't do it.
If I feel like if you as a hitter, you need to look over to the dugout, and if your manager taps the head, you tap your helmet.
Yeah,
You
not
know,
only that, I would make this a definitive rule too. Don't challenge unless it's a sixth inning and on.
yeah, unless there's a call just so egregious that it's like
Yes.
obvious. Yeah. So we kind of got a little off topic, but um, going back into the state of the rotation, it's in shambles right now. Right now, your only starters are Mike Burrows and Lance McCullers. Lance McCullers is going to go tonight versus Luis Castillo, and you need. I know we said it last night, but you need 5 to 6 solid innings from Lance McCullers. We cannot just keep throwing our bullpen to the fire, which is already taxed. And Lance, you got to put you're big dog, Lance. You got that big dog energy. You got to go out there and you got to shove.
People, let it sink in. We are relying on a 2026 Lance McCullers Jr., by the way, who got injured for like 2 or 3 years straight, basically, to eat up innings for us. We live in that universe.
We don't have an innings
Yeah.
eater. It's like I don't know what to say. And I mean, who's going tomorrow? I think it's Cody Bolton again
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because that would be Hunter Brown's
Yeah,
slot.
it has to be Cody Bolton.
Yeah, Cody Bolton looked good. He looked good until he started, getting a little traffic, but he looked very solid. And then after that, you still got game 3. It's gonna be Mike Burrows. It's gonna be Mike Burrows. Wait, no, who was the number? Yeah, it was Mike Burrows. And then we don't know who it's gonna be for game 4. It could be a bullpen game. It could be a spot start because that's Javier's slot. And it's probably not going to be Arrighetti because a lot of people have been speculating that he's probably going to come up for the Colorado series in
I
Houston.
mean, he kind of has to at this point. I mean, granted, I don't know his stats at AAA. Maybe he could be just awful, and that's why you're not calling him up.
He's looked good. He's looked real
Okay.
like you know the starters in AAA like Alexander, um, Arrighetti, and Colton Gordon have all looked really solid
Yeah,
in
then
AAA.
especially, Arrighetti, I don't think there's no point in just keeping him down unless you,
I think they were just really trying. I think they were really just trying to get him stretched out because he missed a chunk of spring training due to him having twins.
yeah, because like I understand Josh Alexander, okay? He does need to work on some stuff. I understand Gordon, he's not the best pitcher, but he's okay. So I understand why you want him to work on stuff. But Eric Getty looks like he was starting to find it out, figure it out last season. So I don't understand why you would try to keep Gordon, sorry, not Gordon, Eric Getty down there for so long.
Yeah, he pitched last night, I believe, for the Space Cowboys.
Yeah, so eventually we have to see Eric Getty on this roster.
We just need until this pitching staff finds a stride, then we are not. Then this rotation is probably just going to be a revolving door of getting sent back up, sent back down, getting fresh arms. But something's got to change, and we just need to hit a reset button, and we hope Lance does that tonight because this pitching staff and this bullpen is just absolutely in shambles right now, and it just cannot afford to get any worse with any more injuries or any more bad performances.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that's what we want to talk about. We got guys, Heal, I don't know. Heal, are you gonna live stream tonight, Heal?
Me and my family, we want to go to a Korean barbecue, so I might miss a couple innings, but I'll try to.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll try and make it to a stream myself, but for those of you that don't know, I live on the East Coast and watching these games is a chore for me. Having to stay up till almost 10 o'clock for start time and then having to work a morning shift. I probably only watch a couple innings until I fall asleep because I gotta go to work in the morning.
So yeah, but if anything changes, I mean, or if they're like, I don't know, fourth or fifth inning, then I'll start it in the middle innings. Unless they're like somehow, hopefully not being like 11-0 or something like that. A really, really berserk number.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please continue to watch, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification to get updates. I'm Noah. That's Heal. We'll see you guys later.